everybody to the meeting today. If we could just gather, I know some people are still out there, but can we have the door closed maybe just to cut down the ambient noise? Perfect. So we'll go first of all to the crime stats. Adam?
Great, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Constable Adam Long, and I'm just going to run through a quick presentation here of some statistics and information on what's been going on in for the month of March. As always, I'll put up a map. This is a map of our division, outlining our neighborhoods and different representatives who come here to the CPLC monthly to represent these neighborhoods. Always looking for new membership and new representatives. So, if anyone's interested, you know anyone's interested, let us know.
To those of you that are on that list, thank you for coming. It's really much appreciated. Thank you.
All right, this first map I'll go over has to do with the collisions in the division. The dots represent different types of collisions, and then there's a heat overlay, which shows what we call hot spots where collisions occur. This map this month looks a little bit different. Usually, if you come here, you see there'll be different smaller hotspots, usually at major intersections. This map looks like there's more of one large hotspot. We have seen this a couple times in the past 4 or 5 months here, which changed it a little bit, is that we're seeing more, we're seeing less clusters of collisions at like a major intersection. We're getting some of these collisions in on our side streets, so it doesn't narrow down such tight targeted areas, but it shows some our collisions are spreading out a little bit more. And a map similar to this is shown on the street at our Regional Crime Management meeting, and the superintendent and management team use it to decide where they'll go to enforce and put enforcement in the upcoming weeks.
Just for the coming week, when I look at the data week upon week, what we've seen in this last week is a little bit of a spike in collisions on Markham from Lawrence up to the 401, so that's where our focus will be. That doesn't mean that's where the only traffic enforcement will take place, but that means that that's what will be our priority. One of the issues that we have been trying to target for the last 2 years in this division is distracted driving using cell phones. I don't know if any of you are on or ever go onto YouTube, but if you go on YouTube, you'll see a story, a very sad story out of England, where a truck driver, he has an in-cab camera on himself, I would assume by his employer for security reasons, and he's seen to pick up his cell phone to change the music. This is all on camera, and there's a car that's traveling along the same motorway beside him that has a camera going out the back of their window. So you get the split screen of these two pictures, and he's changing the music, traffic in front of him stops, and he kills an entire family. I think there's 3 or 4 children that are instantly killed, all because he's just changing the music on his phone. So that's why we target this particular offense in our division, and will continue to do so. So if you're out there using your phone while you're driving, fair warning.
Next map. This one is also has to do with traffic. This again is the same heat overlay you saw in the previous map, and then now the black crosses you see up there, that is where we've done our enforcement throughout the month of March. So as you can see, we got strong enforcement in this division, and we try and keep it to the areas that need it. I'll show you some crime maps now. Our first map is the break and enters that occurred in the division in the month of March. If you come here, usually you'll notice that there's not very many dots on this map. We've been enjoying some very low numbers in our break and enters this year so far, which is nice to see. So I'm going to point out these red dots that you see in here, and these ones out here, we've had not many residential entries, but some commercial entries. Our commercial entries are up a bit, and this was a series of commercial entries over here, and our regional crime unit arrested the person who was responsible for that, which is always nice to see. Some good police work done there. And then kind of up top in the north end, there's a couple of sporadic residential entries, and the residential entries that we haven't seen have kind of been more focused in that area so far this year. So like we always remind people, if you're home during the day, that's when a lot of residential entries happen. If you see something in your neighborhood that you're not used to seeing, somebody that you think is suspicious, please give us a call.
This is a very encouraging statistic for us. At the minute, we've seen in the last 5 years, I don't want to put Adam on the spot, my memory is not as young as his, not as good as his for sure, but over the past 5 years, I think it's been a 20 to 30% reduction in break and enters that we've seen over a 5-year period.
Yeah, it's about 25%.
About 25%. So this data is simply a data measured on last year's reduction. So last year we saw a significant reduction again. It was part of the 5-year reductions that we've seen. So this is just referencing this year compared to last year. And when you look at that, we're seeing another 30% reduction in, or 29% reduction in break and enters. So really, really encouraging data that we're seeing a real increase in community safety as it relates to that particular crime. And it's a lot of it, in my opinion, is again that partnership with the community. The message is getting out to the neighborhoods. If you see something that's suspicious, give us a call. We're happy to attend. We're happy to look and see if there is a crime taking place or about to take place. So that partnership with the community, where people pick up the phone and say, "There's a car in a driveway and I don't recognize it. I've seen somebody go into the backyard." That's gold as far as information for us is concerned, and it helps us prevent crime and arrest those that are involved with it. So this reduction in crime is a direct relation, I believe, to that community partnership that we see here in 43.
Moving along, this next slide is our robberies. If you were here last month, you remember that our robberies are up a little bit this year from where they were. Through March, we saw a reduction in robberies. Our robberies are coming more into line with what we've grown accustomed to seeing in this division. Robberies were being pushed up by our street level robberies of basically young people robbing young people. That almost dropped off the map completely in the month of March, which is good to see. And like I said, the robberies are coming in line. Interesting stat, in March we had 18 robberies. We made arrests in 14 of those, and a total of 19 people were arrested. So our major crime units and our NSU and crew get involved in those investigations too. Really successful in enforcing these and catching the people that are doing it. So it's helping us to drive those numbers back down.
And again, as we say this every year, and we will be doing this through social media as well, and through the local media, Snap, etc. When the weather starts to get warm and we start taking off that outer piece of clothing that sometimes will cover what we're wearing as jewelry, we become bigger targets for those that would want to do chain grabs, etc. So they go up to you, grab your gold chain or whatever you're wearing around your neck, pull it off, and now they've got something that they can sell. That we typically see an increase as the weather becomes warmer and that outer clothing comes up. Fact. Please pass along to your neighborhoods, please pass along to your communities that you need to be aware of your surroundings. If you don't need to wear that very expensive piece of jewelry when you're out and about, when you're out shopping or when you're out in the evening, don't be an easy target for people. Be cognizant of where you are. Don't walk around with your headphones on. Be cognizant of who's coming up behind you. Just take those reasonable precautions for your items of jewelry that's valuable to you and your family.
This next map, theft of autos. In the past couple of years, we've experienced really low theft of auto numbers. This year so far, it is starting to climb a little bit. Nothing we're too drastically concerned about. One thing that is causing the numbers to climb, for people to be aware, if you live in apartment buildings, if you look up and down Markham Road here across Lawrence, what we've been experiencing for the past 6 weeks and we're working on is a lot of broken down cars have been getting stolen from the apartment building parking lots and underground garages. So that is affecting our numbers, pushing up a little bit higher, and that's happening overnight hours. So, and we even see them broken down cars parked in those parking lots. You should be aware of that. And that's one of the factors in that there.
Yeah. So basically, what they're doing is they're going around and they're taking cars that really are the value is the scrap metal. So it will be a tow truck doing it. So it's difficult then for for us to interject into that unless we get those calls from the public where we see that suspicious activity with a tow truck. We appreciate the calls if we get them.
This slide shows our 7 major crime indicators. Once again, these 7 crimes were chosen by Stats Canada to best reflect what's going on in the community, and we're doing pretty good right now. Like I said, point out some of them break-in enters for the year. We're down 29%. Fantastic. Robberies last month, we were up and around 40%. We've driven that down. We're only up 29%. And then when you compare 2017 to 2015, which is down from 2014, we're almost on par. So doing pretty good there. And altogether, we're down 4%. Which is nice. Then one last slide here. I was just going to put up a little bit of a tip. This is for everybody. It's springtime, and this guy's going to be knocking on your door pretty soon, probably. So you always have the calls and questions about aggressive sales. So just for everybody to be cognizant of these aggressive salesmen come calling. Don't get pushed around by these guys if you're trying to sell your stuff at the door. And that's it for me, unless there's any questions.
Okay, this is the portion of the meeting where we address community activities and concerns. Before we listen to or open up the floor to anybody that wants to bring something up, there was something raised at the last meeting. There was a lady from our Aboriginal community that came in and spoke about a particular case where there was a male adult approaching, I believe it was an 11-year-old, and it was a relative of the lady that spoke to us, and had made some sexual remarks to her. And we looked into that. We actually found out who that was. We brought them into the station through investigation. We found out that that person was a vulnerable person. They're mentally handicapped. So that the male adult was a mentally handicapped person. We spoke to that person's family, and we spoke to the family of the 11-year-old that was approached. All were satisfied with the caution given the circumstances that this gentleman was mentally handicapped himself. There were other circumstances involved as well. So I just wanted to address that we had investigated that. We had spoken to the person involved, found out that these were the circumstances, and had decided that it was in the public interest that we not charges in that particular case. So that particular investigation has been closed as a solved investigation. Okay, this is your opportunity to speak to any.
Okay, this has happened quite a few times to me, and don't get me wrong, but there's nothing wrong about panhandlers. But when I drive southbound on Markham, at the traffic light of Markham and Ellesmere, when there's a red light, there is a panhandler, female panhandler, that goes around the cars to get money. And I just find that it is a distraction as well as accident prone. So I'm not sure if anything can be done about this, because you never know when the lights change to green and the lady is over there and people didn't see her. There will be an obvious accident that can be caused.
There's been a few, especially at Markham Ellesmere, that's happened.
Yeah, I have noticed it myself, and there is something that we can do under the Highway Traffic Act. Happy at the back is our expert, who's not even listening to us right now. He's on his cell. But and notice he's sitting beside the food table as he always does. But there is something that we can do with these panhandlers under the Highway Traffic Act, and there's also things that we can do or have a look at under the Safe Streets Act. So there is action that we can take. I noticed that my good sergeant from the crew has made notes, so we will be having a look at that. Thank you.
I can advise too, that's one policy. With the police, we do enforce those things, but those, like I can leave their names in my head, so I know who you're talking about. Those individuals do get enforced by us, and they are credit.
Can you speak up just a little bit, please?
They do get enforced there. Our credit goes up there. They get arrested multiple times, but then they get put to the judicial system, and that's where the police kind of separate from the judicial system. takes whatever action they do, and it's kind of like a revolving door sometimes, so. We do what we can do on our end, but sometimes it's hard because those people are, most of them are themselves, and they just keep going back.
And I just, most of them have over 30 to 50, even up to 100 charges of the repeat offense. So
Maybe we can put a sign there or something, again.
the sign out.
Yeah,
It's so dangerous. That's
yeah,
why-
and, but the problem is that there are laws in place to stop it. We enforce those laws. That's what the gentlemen are saying. We've laid against some of them 50 to 100 tickets, and they're still there. So the courts have to take it a little bit more seriously, perhaps, and there are other steps open to the courts as far as sanctions. And again, a great opportunity. There are some representatives usually here from our various councillors and MPs. These are the folks that you need to talk to put pressure on the judicial system. The judicial system is the ultimate expression of democracy in our society. So it's our politicians who ought to be tapping on the shoulders of our judicial system and saying, we need to look at this a little bit more carefully and to take these things more seriously for the safety of our communities. We're doing our bit as the police, as is evidenced here by these members, and we need the politicians and courts to do their part.
Yeah, I'll mention to.
Thank you.
Congress and
Thank you.
DEC.
Does that also go for the ones that do the same thing in the metro parking lot? Walking around because they go after you just to see you. And when they get the money, they go across the street to the bar.
Yeah.
And they do go with steal.
Yeah, a lot of it's the same, it goes back to the rest of it, that's red shit, everyone, these guys, they get arrested. And unfortunately, they report, and it's very minor punishment, and within 24 hours, they just walk right back.
So we go after, like,
Absolutely.
politicians on that one too?
Absolutely.
Are you talking about the plaza at Markham Eglinton?
Yes.
They go across the water?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, both the crew and MSU, they're up there on a regular basis. We're aware of these guys. We know what you're talking about. They're going to the parking lots, they're asking you for money,
Yes.
and then they're going over to the licensed establishments
Yeah.
across the road.
I have a solution to that.
Close the bar?
Just
Close the bar.
those pennies that we get rid of, keep a bag in your car, let's give it a couple every time.
Yeah, but that just encourages them to stay. I mean, they, you know, a friend of mine was sitting waiting for me in the car, and she said what happened was only the seniors that go out. And the manager of the next course, the problem is that some of the seniors, like, do give them money. That's what the problem is.
Yeah, but after you get them the penny, they won't come after you anymore, so that car
Oh,
doesn't
they
have.
don't. I have a man going in and a woman coming out. You get going.
That's a teamwork, that's what I'm
You got two of them, you know, but, you know, it's just that I walk right by them now. I don't even, I just
Yeah.
totally ignore them and
Good.
walk right by them.
Good.
So
Thank
I will take that a little further because it's really annoying.
And we will continue to do our piece in that puzzle, but others need to step up. There's only so much we can do. We're not allowed to, we're not part of the punishment or the sanction system in Canada. That's the courts.
Yeah, thank you.
I certainly don't want to minimize it, but I do believe the ancient Roman cities and other major cities in the world have been dealing with this. I don't think they call it a no-frills or,
I'm sure they
yeah,
have.
there's somebody harassing the wagons on the way by.
I'm sure, I'm surprised if that's true.
This is your opportunity, any other concerns you'd like to bring to our attention? We do action it. We will have a look at your concerns, and we will report back next week or next month. Reg?
I'm not sure where to start on this. Our community association was copied on some correspondence between the complainant and looks like parking enforcement and Councillor Ainsley's office. And one complaint was about the running of the stops, the four-way stops at Westlake and Living by the entrance to the GO station. And apparently the complaint was made originally in October last year. And another complaint, and the fellow says that people are still blowing through it. He nearly got hit, claimed he's nearly been hit 3 times. And so, there's seems to be no stopping on the west side. People are stopping on the west side. People are pulling in on the east side, having come down south and then pull over, facing the wrong way from being parked here. And then when they go to pull out again, they're pulling out blind because they can't see behind the school buses.
But this is when the kids are being dropped off at school?
Yeah, he said between 8 and 8:30 in the morning and 3 p.m. Yeah.
I guess I'll be able to sometime soon.
Just not give us time to go.
Well, I usually do go there during rush hour. That's one thing. During the peak hours, it's usually the most traffic that's coming through. To sit there on peak hours, it's like an hour or a couple cars every hour. But usually peak hours between 7 and 9 and 4 and 6. That's the hours I was doing. They were morning one and they didn't have to move. There was enforcement there taking up. The school knows about the parking issues. It's been going on for many years. Not everybody complies. But I'll talk to parking enforcement when we do a blitz. Okay?
We do have, Reg, we do have here a project that we have now canned, as it were. We put it into a procedural format where we address that with a particular school when it's brought to our attention. So I will get to Bernie to dust that off, and we will do that again at this particular school, and we'll see if we can put a dent in it. What we find, though, obviously, it's parents whose children attend that school, so we're back to civic responsibility. And frankly, the stop sign, it's civic responsibility. There's only so much, it's like the panhandling, but it's civic responsibility. There's only so much that we can do as police, and we do as much as we can given the staffing restraints that we've got to enforce the law. In Canada, the principle has always been volunteer submission to the laws of the land. That's the way our society operates. That's what we depend upon. We don't depend upon, it's not a police state, we don't depend upon that enforcement to make people comply. Certainly there as a deterrent, but it's ultimately, society in Canada works on that civic responsibility model. And we really do need to see that message get into our communities, because the parents that are doing this are part of the community member in these areas that are experiencing these problems. So we really do need to see parents be responsible. Unfortunately, from what our experience is with these blitzes that we've done, for parents, it seems to be a parking ticket seems to be the cost of doing the business that they do as a parent to drop their kid at school or pick their child up at school. And they seem to be willing to take those risks for that peace of mind that they get doing it. We'll continue to do our bit, but society needs to do, adopt that civic mindset and think about others. And we encourage that message to be shared in your communities.
Do you need to copy this number now?
Yeah, if you can give us a copy, actually give a copy to Bernie, that would be.
Also a bit like throwing a pebble into a pond. We'll do our blitz there and they'll calm down for a week and then realize we're not there. And it'll pick up again. Whatever we can get away with. Same with the panhandlers. I think they all moved out to my neighborhood. All the intersections around.
That don't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So your positions are important.
Yep.
The community.
No, thank you.
Independent.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
That's what.
You done? Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else got an issue they'd like to raise? Asking once, asking twice. No response, your worship. So we'll move on to the next one, which is the police reports. You've already heard enough from me and the inspector, so we'll go over. Bernie, do you have anything?
Dealing with the crew in the MSU, the weather's getting nicer out there. We're experiencing a lot of complaints from the residents with the kids loitering in the parking lots down at Guildwood. The Tim Hortons seems to be acting up again, getting a little busier. So within the last 2 or 3 days, I've noticed a couple of community complaints coming in. Our personnel have been redirected to go back down there on their bikes and kind of clear out the kids that are unwanted and loitering, smoking their marijuana and stuff. So hopefully we'll clean up the Guildwood again. That's legal, yeah.
July. Thanks too, whoever respond. So that's it for Bernie. We have some sad news that our Detective Sergeant Desson is actually moving on to another area in our service. So just acknowledge Jen for the work that she's done for the period of time that she's been here, and thank her for that. And give her this last opportunity to address the CPLC if you have anything to say. Good luck.
Yes.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure working with all of you. I've spent more time than others, but even if it's just a few minutes, it's always appreciated back and forth all the input that we share together. I'm not too far away. Speaking of parking, I'm going to be up at Parking East, which is very close by. So
Rach, we'll get you her number.
Yeah. So timing is everything, and I'll still be your friend and neighbor in 43. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Randy, over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd just like to acknowledge some people for coming today. Thank you. We have Joanne Miller from the Native Women's Resource Center. Joanne, you want to, if I give you 30 seconds, can you say something about what you do? We're going to talk after the meeting as well. She's going to leave some literature for us, and we plan on working very closely with the Native Women's Resource Center. Do you want to, if I give you 30 seconds?
Yeah, sure. I'm the case manager for the sexual violence response team at Native Women's. We're downtown Urban and Gerard, but we'll reach out across the city and beyond. We're concerned with young Indigenous women and Native Indigenous women that may be involved in sexual exploitation or trafficking. So we're trying to build a network and safety net to assist with that process. And I'm one of the main contacts for that. So I do have some posters and information. And I look forward to talking to officers about this issue.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming again. And same with Trina, thank you. These two ladies are very supportive. They attend our meetings, but they're also very supportive online, and that really, really helps to have that online support. Anna Bascarai, thank you very much for coming. Same with Quintus Duracina, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it. David from Paragon, nice to see you again. It's been a bit. You stand up. You got anything to say? How's things at? So, David,
I want to thank you very much to the management of this council there. The thing is being put up right in my office.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So it should be finished by sometime next week.
We drove by, actually dropped my coffee, Dave. Yeah.
Did you hear that, Dave? We actually said fantastic in unison. It was actually, we're both like, we've actually been working together too.
Keep that meeting, girl. That's cool.
excellent. That's good to hear. It's because of you. That's because of your good work. Thank you very much for that. Anybody who hangs out around Morningside, Kingston, Lawrence, the whole triangle is going to know David. It's fantastic. Worked good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. You used to give me trouble back, and that's we have a couple events coming up. May the 4th celebration, which is going to be held at Cedar Break. We're going to post a lot more stuff online about this. This is the second year it's happening. It's a huge event. It's a fantastic event that involves police and youth and sports. Music Not Mischief is finale is happening this month, April 26th. I'll just say a couple stories about Music Not Mischief. We had 2 incidents this year, let's say unfortunate incidents. One of our females that was going to compete for us had to drop out. We worked with her for a while, for a few years, and she got caught back up in the drug life, and she's out. She had to transfer schools and everything, but she's getting help, and that's more important. She's getting help, so she can no longer compete for us. However, we have another gentleman from the Native Learning Center who stepped up in her place, and he's going to continue with Rocky Like a Hurricane from Scorpions. And also, one of the guys that we've been working with for about 4 years now, very, very shy, he was going to compete for us at the finale. He's never been on stage. He's had a hard time working with him, looking up the courage for that. His foster mother passed away. And then his foster sister passed away in the same week. And now they're looking at that being a homicide. So, very unfortunate. He's out. Somebody else from Native Child and Family Services, which he was representing, has stepped up and is doing a great day. So, it's nice to see youth step up and help each other in times of need. And we try to post that stuff. That happens all the time. Youth, adults, seniors, not just youth. It happens all the time. We try to post that stuff online and for our social media pages. Just want to let you know that it happens. So it's going ahead as planned, and it's going to be huge. April 26th. There'll be lots of stuff online. I was going to show a quick presentation, but there's things that are good about it, and things that aren't good about it. And Angela says there's things that aren't good about it, so I'm not going to show the presentation. You think I work for Angela Brackett? I actually work for Toronto Police, but if I do something that Toronto Police wants me to do, or if I don't do something that Toronto Police wants me to do, I get in trouble from Toronto Police. But if I do something that Angela Brackett doesn't want me to do, then I get in trouble from Angela Brackett. And I'd rather get in trouble from Angela Brackett, or I'd rather get in trouble from Toronto Police than get in trouble from Angela Brackett. So, yeah, I'm over a couple minutes, and 30 seconds. 2 minutes. It's 5 minutes. Come on up, Angela, and some of your workers, and just have a few things to say. Yeah, and I am doing that presentation.
Hi, my name is Alex. Yeah, I'm just a student with the youth Scarboorough campus, sort of collaboration with Morale All-Stars, and I'm doing courses to sort of learn about how the service works. Essentially covered, I guess, the real world outside of the academic. And I got to sort of witness like the great sort of unity that exists between the Toronto Police Services and the local community. It's just something that I guess like we try to read the news and learn about all sorts of wars going on in the world. And getting to see such closeness and inspired youth and close sort of systems of authority on it is something that's just it's been a great opportunity to sort of get to know. Going on, and I guess the general journey is going to be like that. Going to continue with Morale All-Stars. It's going to be like, I see a lot of prizes in the future.
Okay, well, my name is Rika. I'm with Centennial College. I'm with the social service worker program. So what I've noticed, well, first off, I'm placed in Mornell as well as with the Mornell All-Stars. So what we do, a portion of community outreach as well, second chance programs. We offer programs or things that are accessible, well, make things accessible to community members, which is where if the person has like bail issues or legal issues, we help them to get connected with legal aid if needs be, or we also help with the children, which is the Safe Walk program, so you can help walk them to school and back and forth to school. Also, we do the homework program. Overall, I've admired the services that Angela provides as well as Randy. I realized that just based on the stigma that happens within the community when it comes to the police service, there's a lot of communities that are kind of shunned or kind of scared of police engagement. In other words, but when I see how Randy operates with people, the community members, it gives them a sense of safety versus a sense of fear. So I've also like what I say is like services. It's nice to see that officer, instead of enforcing power over community members, they actually engage with community members as a person versus as one-on-one, right? So on a long-term basis, I think that is a good thing overall for the community to have a person that they're able to see it as a person rather than just someone empowered.
So we're expanding. Last week I was able to meet with Chalk Farm, and they also want to start a safe walk program. So we're excited about it. There's a lot of things. After sitting in a meeting and listening to all the stuff that's been going on there, we're excited that in September they're going to be starting their first safe walk program, and we're going to be able to help them to promote that program, to help them to get ready for it. They're already talking about Randy. They saw it online, and that was how they got in touch with us. They go, we see what you guys are doing. And so Randy will be able to help them within that community and help us to teach them how to do it. And we're excited about moving forward and expanding our program.
Congratulations.
Monica Rutledge from Aboriginal Peacekeeping Unit. I just want to acknowledge her. Thank you very much for coming. I've known Monica for years and years now. We used to volunteer together before I was even an officer. And thank you for the kind words. I just want to say this again. I'm in that community. I'm a community engagement officer, so it's my job to be there. However, it's I may be the face of something, what's going on over there. However, there's many police officers who work tirelessly in Mornell Court and all over Scarborough. You just don't see them that much, but it's my job as community engagement officer to be there and to kind of be seen. So it's not just me. Thank you very much for those kind words, but I just want to say thanks to all the other officers as well. And that's it for me. Any questions, anybody?
No questions.
Philly's put on the spot. You always got something to say, and Philly's put on the spot. I thought you would have said thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for not eating home.
Any questions?
The only thing I was talking to Reg earlier, and Reg is the community newsletter. Remember about for breaking in, and I do September. That's when we see maybe the stats creep up a little bit with our doors and windows being left open and enjoying the nice weather. So,
You're a handsome man.
Trying to do that. That's
Guys, just much the same. You guys get us back in. Julie's already set up at one end, and Randy's over issue a happy Easter, but she's station of privacy. Obviously, the sexual offense is way up there, not even close. But after that, I can't think of another offense because most crimes, when people are victims of crime, they can go home to their home. They have that sense of safety. But now the crime has actually come right to their very place, and someone's been through all their valuables and taken things with sentimental value and things. And there's things going to be done after, but we'd so much rather keep that from ever happening in the first place. So Toronto, or for that matter, nearby, we would just absolutely love to come out and look at your place. There are recommendations. They are not something that we enforce. They're things that we base upon our training. And again, I am not aware of someone being the victim of a break and enter. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I'm not aware of one where someone has followed all the principles of Sub 10. And at that, we really try to be as practical as possible, and also to keep the price down. We're not going to go and recommend a laser gun or something. That's not what we do. Okay. Just yes, one day, just try to say TSS in public or would agree to have letters of work with justified. Okay. Thank you.
an assault on you personally, even though you may even not have been there, to come home and find your house ransacked and your valuables and your cherished possessions destroyed or stolen. This past week, and I'm blowing the horn for my major crime unit and my CRU and NSU officers, and you may have seen it on the news that 40 cars were broken into in the underground parking of a building not far from here. And all these people are coming home or getting up in the morning to find the glass beside the car and their whatever their paperwork or their coins stolen. More so the fact that their windshields or their side windows have been smashed. And have you ever dealt with the insurance companies on that? Like we're talking, this is a hell of a lot worse, or a heck of a lot worse, right? Than a broken shoelace when you get up and you're trying to get going on your day. I can tell you that within 12 hours, we had the male under arrest, charged. He's been charged now with over 72 counts of mischief and theft under, and was associated to a similar occurrence over in 54 Division, which is Vic Park and O'Connor Drive area. And he was making a habit of this. And I just wanted to let you know that our people here, our officers, collaborating with the 54 Division officers and their knowledge of the people that are engaged in these kind of activities enabled us to identify this character, know where his regular hangouts and hideouts were, and make an arrest within 12 hours and the recovery of a vast majority of the stolen items, including one officer or one person, I think, is a $2,000 Metro Pass. You know, money's tight with everybody, and this character decided to invade everybody's personal space and do that. And again, our guys got him within less than 12 hours. That's it. I can just blow my horn for my myself.
Okay, that concludes the open part of our meeting. We're going to shut down the camera.